Imagine boarding the most luxurious ship ever built. A ship so advanced that newspapers called it unsinkable. A ship carrying some of the richest people in the world. A ship filled with dreams, excitement, and hope. Now imagine that only 4 days later, that same ship would be lying at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. More than 1,500 people would lose their lives. And the disaster would become one of the most famous tragedies in human history. This is the incredible true story of the Titanic. In the early 1900s, competition between shipping companies was intense. Millions of people were traveling between Europe and America. Companies wanted bigger ships, faster ships, more luxurious ships. One company believed it could build the greatest ship the world had ever seen. That company was the White Star Line. Their masterpiece would be called the RMS Titanic. Construction began in 1909. Thousands of workers helped build the massive vessel. The ship was enormous, nearly 900 feet long. At the time, it was one of the largest moving objects ever created by humans. People were amazed by its size. But Titanic offered more than size. It offered luxury. First-class passengers enjoyed elegant dining rooms, swimming pools, libraries, and beautiful cabins. Everything about the ship was designed to impress. Newspapers praised it. Experts admired it. Many people believed it represented the future of travel. Some even claimed the ship was practically unsinkable. That belief would soon be tested. On April 10, 1912, Titanic began its maiden voyage. Its destination was New York City. More than 2,200 passengers and crew members were on board. The atmosphere was exciting. Families were beginning new lives. Businessmen were traveling for work. Wealthy passengers enjoyed luxury unlike anything they had experienced before. The journey started smoothly. Day after day, the ship crossed the Atlantic Ocean. Passengers relaxed. Children played. Music filled the halls. Everything seemed perfect. But far ahead, danger waited in the darkness. As Titanic entered colder waters, warnings began arriving. Other ships reported icebergs in the area. Several messages reached Titanic's operators. The information was important. Yet the ship continued moving at high speed. Many aboard felt completely safe. After all, they were traveling on Titanic. What could possibly go wrong? On the night of April 14, 1912, the sea was unusually calm. The sky was clear. The ocean appeared peaceful. But those conditions actually made spotting icebergs more difficult. Shortly before midnight, lookouts noticed something ahead. An iceberg, directly in the ship's path. The warning bell rang. Officers reacted immediately. The crew attempted a turn. Engines were adjusted. But it was too late. At 11:40 p.m., Titanic struck the iceberg. At first, many passengers barely noticed. There was no giant explosion. No dramatic crash. Only a strange vibration. Some passengers continued playing cards. Others remained asleep. Many believed nothing serious had happened. They could not have been more wrong. Below the waterline, the iceberg had ripped open sections of the ship's hull. Water began flooding inside. Engineers quickly inspected the damage. The news was devastating. Titanic was sinking. The ship designed to survive almost anything could not survive this. The damage was too severe. Several watertight compartments were filling with water. As more compartments flooded, the ship's fate became unavoidable. Titanic would not stay afloat. Crew members began preparing lifeboats. But another terrible problem soon became clear. There were not enough lifeboats for everyone on board. At the time, safety regulations were outdated. The ship carried fewer lifeboats than needed. As the situation worsened, passengers were ordered onto the deck. Confusion spread. Many people did not believe the ship was truly sinking. Some refused to board lifeboats. Others hesitated. The freezing night air grew colder. The front of the ship slowly sank lower into the ocean. Now panic began spreading. Women and children were given priority. Families were separated. Husbands kissed wives goodbye. Parents comforted frightened children. Crew members worked desperately to load lifeboats. Some boats left only partially full because passengers still did not understand the danger. Meanwhile, musicians continued playing music. Their courage became one of the most famous parts of the story. As chaos grew around them, They continued performing to help calm passengers. Hours passed. Water climbed higher. The angle of the ship increased. People struggled to keep balance. Those still aboard realized the end was approaching. Lifeboats drifted away into the darkness. From a distance, survivors watched helplessly. Then came the final moments. Shortly after 2 a.m. on April 15th, the massive ship began breaking apart. The bow disappeared beneath the ocean. The stern rose high into the air. For a brief moment, Titanic seemed suspended against the night sky. Then it vanished beneath the waves. The unsinkable ship was gone. What followed was heartbreaking. Hundreds of people were left in the freezing Atlantic Ocean. The water temperature was deadly. Survival time was extremely limited. Many people who escaped the ship never reached safety. Their cries echoed through the darkness. Survivors in lifeboats later described the sounds as unforgettable. Within a short time, silence returned to the ocean. Several hours later, help finally arrived. The RMS Carpathia rescued survivors from lifeboats. But the scale of the tragedy soon became clear. More than 1,500 people had died. Only around 700 survived. The world was shocked. Newspapers across the globe covered the disaster. People struggled to understand how such a modern ship could sink. Investigations began immediately. Questions were asked. Mistakes were examined. And important lessons were learned. The Titanic disaster changed maritime safety forever. New rules required enough lifeboats for everyone. Emergency communication systems improved. Iceberg monitoring became more advanced. Shipping regulations became stricter. The tragedy saved future lives by exposing serious weaknesses in safety practices. For decades, Titanic remained lost beneath the Atlantic Ocean. Many believed it might never be found. Then in 1985, explorers finally discovered the wreck. More than 2 miles beneath the surface. The discovery fascinated the world. Images of the wreck reminded people that Titanic was not just a story. It was real. A real ship. A real disaster. And a real human tragedy. More than a century later, Titanic continues to capture imaginations around the world. Books have been written. Documentaries have been produced. Movies have been made. Yet the reason people still remember Titanic is not simply because a ship sank. It is because of the human stories, the courage, the sacrifice, the hope, and the heartbreaking reality that one ordinary night changed thousands of lives forever. The Titanic began its journey as a symbol of human achievement. It ended as one of history's greatest lessons in humility. And that is why the story continues to be told today. Outro. If you enjoyed this historical story, subscribe to the Story Files for more incredible true stories, forgotten disasters, historical mysteries, and unbelievable events from the past. Because sometimes the most unbelievable stories are the ones that actually happened.